You know what they say about being a muse? Once you start, you cannot stop. Welcome to the Muse, the show where we shine the spotlight on different creative expressions from different artists, authors, poets, and all of those people. My name is Peace Adeniro, and on the show today, I am glad to announce that there is an author in the studio, and I cannot wait to delve into that conversation already. Now, I usually say this: if you have not followed us yet, do that right now. Follow us on all our social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn at ImpactTV and ImpactTV UK. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show while we go on this short break and take a look at the guest profile. We'll be back after.
Solomon Elusoji. Solomon Elusoji started his journalism career at 17 years old, interning at This Day newspaper, where he transitioned into a regular contributor and traveled across Nigeria, reporting on a diversity of social issues, including oil spillage in Ogoni, child malnutrition in Kano, and insecurity in the Northeast. In 2018, he was nominated by the newspaper for a 10-month China-Africa Fellowship paid for by the Chinese government. Based in Beijing, he traveled across China and reported on the country's character, international ambitions, and the nature of its engagement with Africa. At the end of his fellowship, he took a 6-month hiatus to put his China experiences and observations in a book, while co-founding a literary-cum-political digital magazine, The Question Marker. In November 2019, he published Traveling with Big Brother, a reporter's junket across China. He is working on a second book, a novel about mental health and guns. Solomon Elusoji is our muse today. I have Solomon Elusoji in the studio with me. Welcome, Solomon.
Thank you. Good to have you here.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me over.
And this book is such an interesting read. I like it. Traveling with Big Brother, reporter's junket across China. You said in the book that it's non-fiction. So is it your story?
Yeah, it is.
Wow! So you went to China.
Yeah,
Tell me about it now.
Yeah, I went for 10 months. I went to China for 10 months.
Okay.
In 2017, I was a journalist in Lagos. You know, basically freelance. I was working with This Day newspaper.
Okay.
And one morning, I got a call from my editor, and she was like, "Oh, I want you to go to China for 10 months on journalism training." I was like, "Oh, really?" Yeah, it was a bit weird because, I mean, I wanted to leave for the UK the next year. That was 2018 for my master's, but I was gonna pay for it anyway. I didn't even have the money. I was sort of like, okay, probably get the money somehow. But and then this came and it was free, and I had the opportunity to do a master's also at Renmin University, which is China's best school of journalism. I just felt like it was a good opportunity, right? And I said, okay, yeah, fine, I'll take it. And I went to China for 10 months, even though it felt like really, scary at first because China, I mean, I never dreamed I was going to go to China. I mean, yeah.
Well, of course, it's not like, from what I know, China is not necessarily a popular choice destination for people, when it comes to studying, when it comes to taking leisure, maybe business.
Yes.
And you have a lot of things to talk about in the book there. I was reading and I was laughing, seriously, because it was like a potpourri of experiences altogether.
Yeah.
So do you think that the fact that people do not necessarily want to or are not enthusiastic about traveling to China, do you think it's as a result of China's policies and system of government?
Yeah, that's a very big factor because people look at China and say, oh, that's an authoritarian country, and maybe I'm going to go to China and someone's going to pick me up from the street and put me in jail and I won't be able to come back to Nigeria. So there's that perception, that China is like a very cold state where people, live in fear, and people live in they're not so free, right? Yeah, and then also the language, right? It's also a very big factor because if you go to China, you have to, they don't speak English. I mean,
is it true they have 1,000 letters in the alphabet? I've been hearing that.
Yeah, so they don't have an alphabet system.
Okay.
Yeah, so they have characters.
Characters,
One
okay.
character denotes an idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many of them?
60,000 and above. Yeah, I mean, it keeps expanding. But
You learn 60,000?
No. But you only need about 5,000 characters to be able to read a newspaper.
Okay.
Yes. I can speak a bit of Chinese, but obviously, but not like, I mean, I'm not anywhere
that fluent.
being an expert. Yeah, just the conversational, Mandarin. Yeah.
So tell me about your experience when you first got there. When you first got there, the culture shock and everything.
Yeah, from the airport, it was very, very surprising. In terms of the sophistication of their technology, we had these brilliant lights. Away from the airport, they had all these skyscrapers everywhere. I was like, wow, where is this place?
Just like we see in the movies.
Exactly. I mean, where is this place, right? And then we settled in, and I mean, I went to China with a couple of African journalists also.
Okay.
So it was a big group. But then we had difficulty getting, the right food. Okay. Yeah. So unfortunately, I didn't bring any food with me when I was going to China.
Whoa, lesson learned, I hope.
Exactly. So getting to China, it was sort of like, okay, well, what am I going to eat, right? For about 2-3 weeks, I was almost starving because I could barely find something decent to eat.
So what were you eating?
There was this restaurant just beside in front of my apartment. It was an Italian restaurant. They had this pasta sort of.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it was sort of like, I mean, I can eat pasta every time.
There was no pepper. Was there pepper?
Exactly.
Yeah,
so
pepper.
we kept asking for more pepper, and then the guy was like, yeah. So that was a very big challenge. I eventually got to, find better places to eat. I found about the supermarket. And yeah, it definitely opened up more to me in terms of food, and there are actually some Chinese delicacies that are actually even hotter than ours. Right? So I got to know about that much later, and then the language was a big shock. Yeah, it was you basically want to buy something, and then they're like, oh, I can't speak English.
And the official language is not English, I suppose.
No, it's not. It's everything. I mean, it's from
Mandarin.
Street signs to announcements in the metro. It's all in Chinese. Sometimes,
been hard.
Yeah, it was really, really difficult, and yeah, that also limited how much you could express yourself. As a journalist, you can't really ask people questions because they don't understand you, and yes, that was a very big problem.
Wow. You stated in the book that you were just a young journalist who, was enthusiastic about telling the truth, about reporting the truth, and then you got to China only to discover that over there the truth is relative, so to speak. So how did you maneuver that?
Yeah, I think that the truth is something that we're all looking for, right? We all want to find out, what exactly it is, what's the reality, right? And there are facts, right? Facts are sacred, but how we interpret those facts also matter. And China is a very complicated country, so people look at China and say, "Oh, look, China is a very bad country. It doesn't respect human rights." But China today is the second largest economy in the world. It's as a population one of the largest set of billionaires in the world today. And the people have moved from, poverty, right, to a lot of prosperity from the 1970s till now. And that's a lot of progress in terms of how the country is run.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people will agree that China is run in a very good way, especially the US, which feels threatened about China's rise and dominance currently today. So, going to China, I had a single mindset, a single story that China were the bad guys, Yeah, but living in China for 10 months and, meeting a lot of Chinese people, hearing a lot of Chinese stories, going to a lot of places across China, I just feel probably they have a different idea of, of what reality is.
Okay.
Yes, because for them, it's important to be able to keep their country stable. It's important for them to be able to keep peace, to be able to keep people together.
Just like one of them said that she would rather have this peace than
exactly.
having to question some things.
Exactly. So when the West is talking about human rights and they're talking about the rule of law, those are good things, those are amazing things. But even in countries that say that, oh, we're democratic, like Nigeria, for example, we're not even democratic in the first place. And two, we don't even have the prosperity that China has. So there is that question that comes to my mind and says, okay, who exactly are the bad guys here? And that brings us into a lot of different things. And I'm going to give an example. When the COVID pandemic broke out, and it originated from China, and the Chinese government decided to lock down most of its cities that were affected by the virus. There was an international outcry about how China was going about it. People were saying that, oh, China, they're taking away people's human rights. But then, the government did what they had to do, right? And in about 2, 3, 4 months, China was able to get the virus under control. But then what happened in the US, what happened in Britain, where there was so much freedom, and the government really just couldn't get a grip of it, and thousands, hundreds of thousands of people died.
Okay.
Because of, so those are two, systems.
Okay, so are you saying now that freedom sometimes can be a weapon instead of it being a tool for liberation and all of that, or development, so to speak? Because you said also in a part of your book that Nigeria had stifled economic development, while its restriction in China enabled progress, talking about freedom of speech. So are you saying now that because freedom of speech is, available in Nigeria, it has stifled our progress as a nation, and because it is sort of restricted in China, it has fostered the economic development? Is that what you're saying?
No, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say freedom of speech has stifled, Nigeria's progress, because even when we didn't have freedom of speech, we were not any better for it. I mean, Nigeria, yes, I mean, we've been in a military dictatorship for most of our since our independence. I think the military has ruled us for almost half of, of that duration. So it's not about freedom of speech. I think the freedom comes with responsibility.
Or let's say freedom generally, because
freedom,
China has a lot of restrictions, have a lot of policies that are interesting, so to speak. Talk about the two-child policy that started sometime in 2015, I think. As if I'm going to pay a fine for having more than 2 children, it's just like you're telling me I shouldn't have more than 2. But I understand that it's in a bid to control population, but I think it's even having adverse effects now.
Yeah, so now there's this talk about, taking that away, because China's population is declining. The population, people are not, even when, I mean, you have 2 kids, you are permitted to have 2 kids. People don't even want to have kids anymore because it's so expensive to raise a child in China. And there's a lot of economic consequences for that. So the government is thinking, okay, maybe we should even just scrap this stuff, because our population is aging. And if our population is aging, in the next 10, 20, 30 years, it's going to affect our economy, because you need young people to be productive as an economy.
So because I realize now that China has more of the dependent population and more than independent population, so it's a burden on the young ones.
It's about getting to that point. I just feel like my opinion of China is that, I mean, what China taught me is that freedom has, comes with responsibility. You can't just be free. Yes. What freedom means really, is that the more freedom you have, the more responsibility you have to take on. And yes, there's nothing like free freedom, right? It's not free, right? You have to pay for it in some way or the other, right? And that's how China looks at development, looks at economic growth. That some things that needs to happen, no matter how inconvenient they are, they need to happen for us to be able to move forward. Yes, I mean, China they're not saints, right? It's also good to state that there's a lot of human rights abuses, human rights abuses happen in places like Xinjiang. That's in northwest China now. Yeah, northwest China, and it's getting. I mean, about 1 million people have been sent to re-education camps.
Okay.
And that's like a fancy word for for people have described it as as what I've linked it to say something like what the Nazis did in Germany.
Okay.
Yeah, with the Jews, but I don't think it's that.
It's not that
yeah,
deep.
but then it's also bad
in a subtle way.
Yeah, it's bad. When I was in China, I didn't go to Xinjiang. They didn't take us to Xinjiang. Yeah, so. But it's something that I should also state. It's a very, very important issue that is it's like a stain on China. Despite all its successes.
And of course, you can't be perfect. You can't be 100% perfect.
Absolutely.
So this book is a travelogue. What do you expect the reader to take home after reading this book? What's the imprint you want to leave on the mind of the reader?
Yeah, I think I wrote it because because a lot of Nigerians don't understand China or haven't been to China, and when I talk about China to a lot of people, there's all these racist tropes, that come out like, oh, China, Chinko people, like, so I think that it's important that China, becomes more open to more Nigerians, because China is going to become more important to us.
Yeah.
I mean, they are one of the countries that give us.
Yeah, the process has started, though.
Absolutely. I mean, they build trains, they build highways, they're building so many things for us. And in the next 10, 20 years, we're probably going to be learning Mandarin in our schools. I think Kenya has a policy now learning Mandarin in public schools. Yeah. So China's importance in the world is going to keep getting stronger. Yeah. Their stature is not going to decrease. The US is definitely worried about that. But yes, they're not going anywhere. And so I think it's important for us to learn more about China as much as we can, to understand them, to be able to see what they want and where they're going. And so I think those things are important. And I think when people pick up this book, they can have an insight into what China really looks like.
Yeah, definitely.
And have some, basic understanding of, what to expect when, and in the next 10 years, China becomes, the big boys in town. Yeah.
So this is your first novel.
Yes, it is.
Congrats.
It's not a novel. It's
a travelogue, so to speak. Yeah. All right. So should we expect any more stuff from you?
Yeah. Yes, I'm working on a book currently, a novel now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's about mental health. And guns and spies and
mental health and guns.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of some science fiction. Yeah, in it, some fantasy. It's sort of like a potpourri of things. Yes.
I can't wait for that. I'm interested in it already.
Yeah.
So, as a creative, do you experience any challenge when you write, or what are the challenges you face, so to speak, in this climb?
Yes. I think the challenge is that it's very difficult to be a full-time writer in a place like Nigeria because of a lot of things, piracy, illiteracy.
Illiteracy, you say?
Yeah, I mean, our literacy rate is still not there. I think it's about 60% now.
According to the papers,
yeah,
you mean? Because I wouldn't agree to that, but continue.
Yeah, I mean, so there's that. And then we're not competing with other books. We're competing with movies. We're competing with music. We're competing with other things that people spend their time
True.
Yeah, so that's also a very big factor. And but because it's difficult to make money as a full-time writer, so you have to do other things. Right? I'm actually a full-time journalist, right? So it's difficult to find time to write. And as a writer, the thing you need most in the world after money is time. Yeah, you need that space, that quiet, that that solitude to be able to put words together. So I mean, it's the economic factor is a very, very jarring thing, for most people who want to be writers and they want to make money. And I mean, if you're lucky, you could actually make a lot of money as a writer.
If you're lucky.
Yeah, if you're lucky, and if you're good, if you work hard. Yeah, but then those are it's really very difficult to do that. And I think for me, I need to motivate myself more, you know. So writing is, so I always tell people that, you know, I'm not happy when I'm writing, I'm happy when I've written. Yeah, so writing is, you know, most of the time you're like, okay, you're sitting in front of a blank page and like, okay, what next? And it's very difficult, and there's always this fear. Always this hesitation because you feel you're not going to be good enough. Like, yeah, it's not just going to be good enough. I think
it's a problem with every creative.
Yes,
I think it's a general problem. I think it's a good problem because it pushes them to near perfection.
Yes.
Because nobody can be 100% perfect.
Yeah, I like that word. You have to push yourself. So, so writing in Nigeria, you know, if you can get past the economic factor, if you can find somehow to, you know, maybe you have a day job but still find time to write, I think it's good. And then also you have to find that motivation to keep pushing even when you are confronted with rejection and failure and stuff like that. When
you're not doing journalism and you're not writing, how do you unwind?
Yeah, I do love reading.
I'm tired of authors. You outside reading.
Yeah.
How do you relax?
I watch movies. Sometimes maybe go to the cinema.
Okay.
Yes, and I also like to, you know, play with computer code. Not necessarily like, I mean, it's not something serious really, but yeah.
Computer coding is not something serious.
Yeah,
it's
something that, you know, gets me to basically think, you know, differently, you know, than, you know, working with words and stuff, which can get stressful sometimes. And yeah, I think that's about it. Yeah, it's boring, right?
No, it's not. It's actually interesting. And it was interesting having this conversation with you. Thank you so much. And this book is a must-read for you, Traveling with Big Brother, a reporter's junket across China. Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you very much.
We're not done just yet. Let's go on this quick break, then we'll come back and take excerpts from the book. So this is where we read the excerpt from the book Traveling with Big Brother, a reporter's junket across China by Solomon Elusoji. And we're reading from page 21, that's settling. Okay, let me go first. We're reading just 2 paragraphs. The first and perhaps the most important Chinese political event we attended was the 2 sessions. We woke up early to catch the bus, which took us to the Great Hall of the People, where we joined the queue of journalists. It was always cold and windy. One morning, on the queue, we scampered off to look for shelter from the heavy gusts coming our way. The winter jackets were barely good enough.
The 2 sessions is China's stab at the democratic spirit, a conference of the country's legislative and consultative bodies, the National People's Congress, NPC, and the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, CPPCC, which includes popular figures like Yao Ming and Jackie Chan. The conference, a series of back-to-back meetings, usually lasts for about 2 weeks.
If you want to know what happened at the conference, get the book. Right, so you're going to teach me how to greet in Mandarin.
Oh, okay.
Right, so what's good morning?
Good morning. Ni hao. Ni hao.
Ni hao.
Yeah, ni hao is a general, you know, say hello, hi.
Okay, say hello. Okay, hello,
so
hi.
If you want to say good morning, so I don't think Chinese people say good morning, but I mean, you know, as a beginner, you learn all these things.
Okay.
So good morning is Zao Shang Hao.
Sorry, say that again.
Zao Shang Hao.
Zao Shan Hao.
Yeah, Zao Shang Hao.
Zao Shang Hao.
Exactly.
All right. How do you say how are you?
Yeah, ni hao.
Ni hao. Oh, hello. How are you? How do you say I'm fine?
Huan hao.
Ni hao.
Yeah.
Wei hao.
No. So saying I'm fine is, so if I want to ask you how are you, I can say ni zemayang.
Ni zemayang.
Zemayang. Ni zemayang. That's like how are you?
Okay.
Right, and then you can say 我很好.
我很好. Yeah, say it.
你怎么样?
我很好.
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 Exactly.
Can you write that?
Yeah, I can write the pinyin for you, but not the characters.
Why?
Yeah, because I only type them. I can write them.
Okay, you can type or you type,
yes,
right?
I can write them.
Thank you for taking this excerpt with me.
Yes.
All right, let's go on the short break. We'll be back for the games. Welcome to the game segment where I like the most, because I get to be playing this game with Solomon Elusoji. He's still in the studio, and of course you all know that it's our game, the word construction game. Are you ready to play this game with me?
Yeah.
You ready?
Sure.
All right, so like I said, this is a word construction game, and I say a word. Okay, you're starting, so you say the word. I'll pick the last letter of your word, and it will start my own word. So you pick the last letter of that and say your word, and it goes on and on until someone misses out. So when someone misses out, that's the end of level 1. So the game is in 3 levels. The second level is the last 2 letters of the word instead of the last letter. The third level is the last 3 letters. So here are the rules of the game. No freezing, no hesitating, no stuttering, no stammering, no and no saying of a word that has been said before by either of us. And thirdly, it's spontaneous. You don't have to wait and think of anything. The fourth rule is that no saying of 2-letter words and 3-letter words. We start from the big words. Are you ready?
Okay, good.
So give me your word.
Okay. Champion.
Nonsense.
Elephant.
Type. Okay. You won. You won. I didn't know what to say. I wanted to... All right. Okay. You won on level 1. Let's move to level 2.
Okay.
So remember, level 2 is the last 2 letters of the word. So your word is traveler. I won! I was expecting erosion.
Oh, okay, ER, right?
Yeah. I was expecting erosion.
Okay.
Or, words that, what does that, we have many words that start with ER.
Yeah.
So, are you ready for level 3? Okay.
Sure. Am I starting?
Yeah, you're starting.
Okay.
Level 3 is the last 3 letters, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Peace.
Okay. I wanted to say accelerate, but it's double C.
Yeah.
And pieces. Peace ends with
acebic.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that didn't come to mind though.
That's very difficult though.
Okay, so you won this game session. Let me clap for you.
Okay.
So Solomon has 2 points, and I have the privilege of going over this episode with just 1 point.
I think there's an advantage to the person who starts.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Thanks for playing this game with me, though.
Yeah,
it was fun.
Yeah, same here.
So let's just go ahead now and sign the Muse board.
Okay.
Before Solomon goes on the show today, I'll make him sign the Muse board as it is on the Muse. It's our tradition, as you all know. So someone's going to get up now, go to the board, and just put your signature on it. And you're going to do something in Chinese.
Okay.
So let's have it.
All right.
Any part of the board is okay.
Okay. Just do this. I think I'll just do ni hao, right?
Okay.
Yep.
That's beautiful. So that's ni hao.
Ni hao, yes. N-I-H-A-0. I can't do the Chinese version.
The character.
Yeah, the character,
okay.
because that's a bit complicated.
Okay, so that's hello, Solomon.
Yes, hello.
All right, thank you so much for coming. And as a token of appreciation to you,
thank you
on behalf
so
of the
much.
team, we present this to you.
Amazing.
Thanks
amazing.
for coming.
Thank
we really appreciate
much.
you.
Thank you very much.
And special thanks to everyone who has worked behind the scenes to make this show a success. Special thanks to Niger Hair Factory for my hair and Crystal West for my beautiful gown. Thank you so much for staying with me, and you can follow us on all our platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn at High Impact TV and High Impact TV UK. My name is Peace Adeniran. See you next week.